The morning sun cast a gentle glow across Siesta Key Beach, its rays dancing on the turquoise waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Helena Marlowe walked barefoot along the powdery white sand, each grain warm between her toes, as memories surged unbidden to the surface of her mind. At 48, the former marine biologist carried the marks of a decade of grief. The fine lines around her eyes, once alive with scientific passion, now held the quiet weight of sorrow and unrelenting questions. It had been 10 years since her husband, Benjamin Marlowe, and their 14-year-old daughter, Isla, disappeared beneath these same waters. The weather today mirrored that long-ago morning. Clear skies, a gentle breeze, perfect visibility. Conditions that had seemed ideal for diving. Conditions that had become a cruel echo of loss. Helena paused at the shoreline, closing her eyes as the memories washed over her like the tide lapping at her ankles. The dread from that day never faded. 1 hour turned to 2, then 3. The oxygen tanks they carried wouldn't last that long. She knew something was terribly wrong. "You promised you'd always come back," she whispered to the sea breeze, remembering Ben's reassuring smile that morning. He always came back. Ben Marlowe had been a seasoned professional, a rescue diver with over 2 decades of experience. He had saved lives, advised film productions on dangerous underwater shoots, and navigated perilous currents without fail. Isla, though young, had been in training since she was 8. A natural, just like her dad. Helena recalled the frantic call she made to the Coast Guard. The immediate search launched boats, helicopters, and divers across the Gulf. But nothing surfaced, no bodies, no equipment, no signs of distress. The police investigation, led by Detective Samuel Ortiz, had been exhaustive but fruitless. She had refused to leave Siesta Key for years, renting a small beach house, joining every search, posting flyers, contacting hospitals and police departments, and appearing on local news. But after 5 years, the case went cold. Detective Ortiz had been kind but honest. "We suspect an underwater current swept them away. We searched the islands and caves. If they were trapped, we would have found them." Helena never believed it. Ben knew these waters better than the team sent to find him. He would never have risked Isla's life. But time wore her down. Doubt crept in like the tide. She continued walking, the rhythm of the waves her only solace in a life shaped by unanswered questions. Her career had shifted. Unable to return to oceanic research, she turned to land-based conservation work. Speaking at conferences. Advocating. But she never set foot back in the sea. From her bag, she drew a small wooden box, smoothed with years of handling. Carved on the lid were the initials I.M. Inside, the ashes of Isla's beloved garden plants, orchids, succulents, and herbs she had tenderly cared for. Helena had kept them alive for years, a living memory. But recently, she decided to let them go. "You'd be 24 now," she whispered. What would Isla have become? A diver like her father? A botanist, maybe, the way she nurtured those plants? She approached the water's edge, box in hand. This was supposed to be her final goodbye. But she froze, unable to tip the contents into the sea. Was she ready to let go? Just then, her bag bust. Startled, she snapped the lid closed, returned the box to her bag, and fumbled for her phone. The name on the screen froze her breath, Detective Ortiz. His calls had dwindled to almost nothing over the years, and they never brought news. "Detective," she answered. "Helena, we have something. A message. It was found in the Bahamas. It might be from Isla." The world tilted. "How soon can you be at the station? We need to go there together." 30 minutes. Pack light. We might need to move fast." Helena raced back to her car, trying to suppress the wave of hope surging within her. Hope had betrayed her before. But what if this time? At the station, Ortiz greeted her with a look she hadn't seen in years. Eagerness. He introduced Officer Ramirez, a younger cop who would accompany them. Then he spread a map of the Bahamas on the table. A fisherman found a bottle with a note. The handwriting, "We think it's Isla's." Helena sat, legs trembling. "We're flying to Nassau now. A seaplane is ready." 45 minutes later, they arrived in Nassau and met Senior Officer James Wallace. The fisherman, Leo Cartwright, waited nearby, hat in hand. "Ma'am," he said softly, "I hope what I found brings you peace." At the station, the bottle was presented. Inside, a message. Helena's hands shook as they unrolled it. The handwriting. "It's hers," she whispered. The note read, "My name is Isla Marlowe. My father Ben and I are stranded on an island in the Bahamas. We got lost diving. We don't know the name. There are red rocks on the southern shore. A horseshoe-shaped bay to the west. Bad people here. Drug runners. They don't know I wrote this. Please help. We've been here for years. Mom, if this reaches you, Dad still watches the stars. Even if I can't. Helena broke down. She clutched the paper, the closest thing she'd held to her daughter in a decade. The officers confirmed the note's authenticity and convened a strategy session. Clues are red rocks, horseshoe bay, a blinking red light on Thursdays. The fishermen noted that currents could carry bottles, but this one was relatively clean. Likely recent. They identified Norman's Cay as a possible origin point. Once a drug smuggling hub, it fit the clues and was near where the bottle was found. They planned an aerial survey and a ground team led by Leo on his boat. At Norman's Cay, Helena found a beaded bracelet half buried in the sand. Islas. She had made it herself. A nearby shack raised suspicions. A teenage boy named Nico appeared with a key. Under questioning, he led them to the shack's interior. Inside, crates filled with coconuts and coral rocks. Hidden among them, bricks of cocaine. Where are they? Helena pleaded. Under pressure, Nico confessed. Isla had been there. Ben had been killed trying to smuggle out a message. They made us tie rocks to his legs and throw him in the deep. Helena collapsed in grief. The confirmation hit her like a blow. But Isla was alive. Nico had seen her. More clues, the red light on Thursdays. Boat signals used for covert drops when patrols were elsewhere. It's Thursday, Helena said. We might only have tonight. They moved fast. A surveillance team set up near the marina. Night fell. Then movement. Boats. A blinking red light. There, Helena pointed. That's the signal. The lead boat matched the pattern. Men disembarked. A woman was brought on deck, struggling. That's her, Helena gasped. That's Isla. The tactical team was en route, but time was slipping away. As the boats prepared to leave, Helena ran from cover. Gunfire erupted. Officers engaged. The yacht tried to escape, but seaplanes arrived, cutting off the route. Tactical teams boarded. The smugglers surrendered. 3 hostages, came the report. 1 female. All alive. Helena trembled as she spotted her daughter, now a young woman, stepping off the yacht. They ran to each other, colliding in an embrace 10 years in the making. You found me, Isla sobbed. You really found me. Back in Nassau, their statements were taken separately. Helena learned the man behind it all was Rafael Tosca, a trafficker operating in the region for years. Ben and Isla had stumbled onto one of his drops. Captured. Forced labor. Constant movement. Isla recounted everything, the diving, the transfers, the failed escape attempts. Her father's death 3 years prior, after he tried to slip a rescue note into a shipment. His final act of defiance. He said home isn't a place, it's people, she whispered. Helena held her tightly. And we're together now. That's all that matters. At sunrise, they stood by a window, watching the sea. The wooden box still in Helena's bag. Not a memorial now, but a symbol. Not of what was lost, but of what endured. And what had been found again. Hope. Family. And the promise of tomorrow.